Luca. And how are you doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm waiting for Glen to join me. Should be joining me very soon. So just a bit of patience, please. Because my connection is not great this morning. I am in Grottaferrata. For those of you who followed me these past few days, know that Grottaferrata is one of the places in one of the small towns, part of the so-called Roman castle, so just the outskirts of Rome. And the air is quite cool today. It's quite fresh. There's a nice breeze that's cooling down the scorching hot temperatures we've had the past few days. So, at any rate, I think we can get quickly started until Glen joins. Glen is a fellow SFM member. He's been an SFM member, but he'll tell about himself on his own. But just to give you a quick intro about him, and he's been for a few years, and after that, he decided to get off onto his own feet and practically start building his own business. And he's now on some very interesting ventures, and his journey is quite interesting. So Glen is a very experienced person. Glen is also a very nice guy. And he tells me that he's trying to connect. Something's apparently not working quite right. Don't know what that is. At any rate, we connected. Hi, somebody joined. We connected a few days ago, and we started a conversation that practically went along the terms of, hey, good to talk to you. What are you doing? Yeah, you know what? Good to talk to you. What are you doing? Oh, well, we're actually doing something that's very close, very similar. We're both interested in, becoming the owners of sustainable, thriving digital businesses. We're both having different angles at which we are entering these. He's definitely more experienced than I am, guys. I have no problem in admitting that. And but what joins us, what makes us very close and having joint goals is that we definitely share the vision that whatever program out there like SFM, we want to follow and want to recommend the others. There's questions that people have around these programs, and especially about SFM. So some of other people part of this group, of the NH2BE group, also asked me a few questions, or from some of the comments, I could understand that there were some aspects, especially related to the practical aspects. So like profitability, parameterization of ads, for example, paid advertising on Facebook, just to talk about one, that was not for them very clear. So they started talking to details about, the frequency, the reach, or the impression, and they're all good questions. So the reason why I decided to shoot this video live today, and we should have been going live on Facebook. The fact is that I wanted Glen to join me, so I had to use Zoom because I'm still not managing to have the audio from both sources to properly propagate on Facebook Live. And it was exactly this. So to talk freely about the creation of a digital business, not to make it linked necessarily to SFM, but also to share our feeling about SFM. And I have to be honest, I am an affiliate for SFM, right? I am a Elite Plus member, and I think it's a great community. I really, truly do believe that it offers some great advice, guidance, tutorials, education, and some great connections, some great networking opportunities, great community aspects. At the same time, of course, the program is so broad, so vast, that people can get confused and a bit overwhelmed. Now, at times the people are telling me, I launched a poll very recently, and the people who have responded gave me the feedback that for them, the trouble of actually getting started or getting the momentum in the creation of their own digital business is a combination of not having time and really feeling overwhelmed. Now, with having time, I think that will probably require to have a session on its own. Having time is something that we all, in a way or the other, struggle with, because we all have our lives, and all of a sudden, if we're not coming from an entrepreneurial background or setup or experiences, and we all of a sudden decide to start something else, something new on top of everything else, definitely we need to, challenge ourselves and find space in our own existing agenda. So many of us are daunted by this task, but this is totally doable. And ultimately, guys, I would say that we all manage to make the time for things that are worth for us, right? So you probably also need to start asking yourself, how badly do you want something, so that you make the time for it in your own daily agenda. Let me check, because Glen should have joined by now. And let me go here. Directly on the room. Okay, and while Glen thinks about taking care of some issues you may have, I will move on to the second aspect, because the first one that I talked about is having time, and this is very individual. Oh, hello, Glen, can you hear me? Glen, I don't hear you, so you might be muted. You may need to unmute yourself, or you may need to activate some microphone. Still can't hear you. Can't hear you. Technology is a great thing, guys, when it works. Let me see if I can make something more. Make host, allow name, put on hold, chat. Unmute all. I'll try and unmute everybody. You are definitely unmuted from my side, Glen. Can you hear me? Nope, doesn't work. Do you want to perhaps try again? Try and reconnect? Let me try and write this. Sorry, guys. These are some things that happen when lives are scheduled. It's nobody's fault. Well, I'll take the fault, actually. Yeah, you need somebody to take the blame for it, and I am to blame for it.
Oh, can you hear me, Luca?
Oh, now I do. Something happened. You pressed the magic button.
Okay. We're actually communicating. It was horrible. I felt like a fish in a fishbowl.
And
I could see my mouth moving.
Yeah, I did. And I said, wow, it must be saying something very interesting. The bad thing is that nobody can hear it, or not us anyway. And Glen, thanks for making the time.
No worries.
You and I are at the moment live on the Zoom channel. I know that timing is always of an issue for people to join, but this is in the spirit of a weekly agenda of live events that I'm hosting.
Sure.
And I'm still trying to find out what the best way to do that is, to be honest, using Zoom or going directly live on Facebook. The reason, and maybe Glenn, on the second note, you will have a chance to help me out with that technicality, because I don't seem to be able to stream the video coming from the other side on Facebook. So that's why I had to recur to the Zoom meeting that we'll post later. I hear an echo. But while you were trying to join, I tried to give a bit of a background about yourself. Of course, it was just very few words. I was waiting for you to
Sure, sure.
give it yourself. So, who are you, Glenn?
Well, I mean, it's how long have you got? I mean, I could go on forever.
I know we have 1 hour, so I was thinking a couple of minutes intro, and then we'll dive deep into our conversation.
I'll just whiz through a bit of a backstory. So, I mean, I suppose I'm a bit of a maverick, bit of a nonconformist. Was not academic at all. Did not like school. So I went off travelling at a very young age. I ran off travelling around the Greek islands when I was about 18. Anyway, cut a very long story short, I met some very interesting people. So my education was through travelling, and I realised that I didn't have to conform. So I went back to London, got a job as a salesperson, and got as much money together as possible, was reasonably successful, and then went off for a couple of years travelling again. Now, since that time, I've travelled to probably 35 plus countries. I've lived in 6. And the thing with all of this type of lifestyle is always how you fund if you're going to kind of step out of the box and do things in a different way. And I've sold T-shirts in Greece. I work for a holiday company on the Greek islands as looking after villas and selling excursions. I've sold telephone systems in Australia. But during those travels, I always used to go back to London and set myself up because I knew London very well, and I've always been involved in some kind of sales. And I've had a shop in London, I've had a tailoring business. So I would kind of start something new and then get bored, make as much money as possible, and then go off traveling again. But I haven't lived in London since 20 years now. My last big project was a little hotel in Spain, which was open for 10 years. And now I'm based in Italy. I separated from my ex-partner with Casa Cinco, which is a small hotel, which was my ex-wife, and we're still incredibly great friends, and we have dinner every time I go back to London. But now I have my Italian partner, Arianna, and you know, we're now in Trieste, which is the north of Italy. And just to finish on that kind of quick backstory, there's been loads of failures and loads of successes, but it's been an amazing journey. But the most important thing I realised, and that's why I got involved with digital online businesses, was that I really needed to find a way to have a portable business. And I was the kind of guy, and this is no joke, a few years ago I did not have a smartphone. So I kind of joined the mentorship program and re-educated myself. I understood business to a certain degree. I'm sort of an entrepreneur of a very small league. I've had very small businesses, nothing grand, and that some have been successful and some have not. But I realised that if I wanted to be in a situation and not get captured again with a bricks and mortar type business, I needed to re-educate myself. And so that's why I went on my digital journey and got involved with a great mentorship program, and really just, had to change that switch, which was the old way of doing things. Because I'm in my early 50s now. So there we are. And now I'm based in Italy. I help people, I coach expats on how to get set up online. And I've just launched a new e-commerce brand. So that's where I am today.
That's, wow. That's in a nutshell, right? So if you don't mind me asking then, Glenn, how many businesses have you started? No matter how they've gone, but how many?
Well, let's just run through them. I mean, when I first went traveling around the Greek islands, I had to find a way to fund that. So I got a job working for Grecian Holidays. Again, met someone in a bar. And so I was selling some excursions and doing some transfers, and then I ended up running a maintenance team. But then from there, I was selling T-shirts. So I suppose my first job was selling T-shirts on the Greek islands as an entrepreneur. But then again, I went back to London and I got a job selling business equipment. And then I went traveling off to India and Thailand and studied Buddhism for a while. And then when I went back to London, I realised that I needed to fund myself. So I was importing some products from Thailand and India. So that was another little business, which didn't go particularly well. And then I was always involved with fashion and design because my some family and friends were involved with. Well, put it this way, my father always had handmade suits, so I always really loved the idea of handmade suits. So I actually set up a bespoke tailoring service, and that all of my businesses have been by coincidence, but jumping at an opportunity because I had a little outlet in Covent Garden selling clothing, and a friend of mine had a record shop underneath. It was a very small setup. But there was an old Cypriot boy that used to go in the local coffee shop, and he was a wonderful tailor. And I was getting married, and he made my suit for my wedding. But he was a great tailor, but he didn't understand how to get clients. And I realised, and we used to have breakfast together, that I could get clients with him. So I went into his workshop every weekend for about 6 months, and he taught me how to cut, measure, and fit. And then I went off to the City of London and made appointments with advertising companies and a lot of the bankers and different types of businesses where they wanted and needed to look good. So I'd go out there, show them the fabric books, measure them up, and then my old Cypriot, Paul Kitsaris, who was a wonderful old fella, used to organise the workshop. And we had a couple of trouser makers, jacket makers, and I'd done that for about 7 years. And then that was before I went off to Spain to set up the hotel. So that was my last business in London. I don't know. If I went for every little, and I also had market stalls in Camden and Portobello Road selling vintage clothing. But some of these things overlapped.
Yeah.
So I was always doing stuff because when you're in London and you mix with the community that I mixed in, if you went for a drink in the pub, someone always had an idea of how we should make some money. And if you were brave and foolish like me, I'd say, okay, let's have a go, let's do it. So I've probably had a half a dozen businesses. Some have made money, some have been a complete flop. But I always look at it as a journey. I always feel that the most important thing is the journey. And that's where the fun is. You've got to just say, come on, let's have a go.
Massive.
And each time I've done that, I've had to take massive risks. I mean, I had a flat that I bought in London, so I remortgaged to release the money to start businesses. I've done that on a few occasions, and this is the wonderful thing about this digital online business. I mean, when I moved to Spain, I sold my flat in London and I bought an old building for about 150,000 euros. It cost me another 150,000 to restore it because it was a 12th century townhouse.
Wow.
And so it literally probably cost me about $300,000 to eventually get one client to rent one room for 150 euros. So now, as you know, you can set up, I've just set up my e-commerce store. It's probably cost me, I don't know, 1,000 euros to get, not the product, but the actual setup. So you can be up and running with this, and also you can test things like with bricks and mortar and this type of business. It takes a hell of a lot of effort and a hell of a lot of money to find out that you're going down the wrong route. Whereas with an online business, you get set up quickly, and cheaply.
And Glenn, I know you and I talked a bit about that on an earlier occasion. Many people, I was telling before that I recently just posted a poll on my Facebook, group and on the page. And the majority, I'm seeing a trend there that pretty much the people have responded. The question was, what are you struggling with in the creation of your digital business? And the trend that I've seen is that there was a mixture in the answers. So the answers were either saying, well, I don't have enough time, and that's okay, that's a topic on its own. But on the other side, it was the answer like, I feel overwhelmed. So digital, as you said it yourself, is an easier way to set a company up, a leaner way to manage a business. But can you really say that it's, I mean, it's not for free, right? I mean, why are people,
No.
yeah. So what's your perspective on that? Because you started a few years back with digital yourself.
Yeah, well, the way I see it is that you have to definitely join a community, and you have to get a coach, and you have to find someone that's further along the path than you are, someone that's being successful. And that can be whether it's football. I mean, I ran a marathon in London a few years back, and I was struggling until I joined the running group, and I got a coach to go running with. So it's like anything in life, you know, whatever you do, you definitely need to be around people that are doing it, and you know they're further along the path. And that's why I actually got involved with the SFM,
Yeah.
because I needed to build a community of people that, because within SFM you've got people that are just starting out,
Yeah.
you've got people that have been doing it for 20 years.
Yes.
And you know, I'm not sure how much your listeners know about SFM, but you've got people that are just starting out, and you know they've just joined at the lower end, and because there's steps going up to like silver, gold, platinum members. And there are people that are, making a few $100 a month. And there are, I mean, I know some people might fall off their chair, but there are some people I know in the community that are making 100,000 a month. But but again, it goes back to how much time you're willing to put in, and how much money you're willing to put in. And I would suggest, and this is just my recommendation, that with something like SFM, it's like joining a gymnasium. I think that you go in there at the low end as possible. You go in and it's like taking a car for a drive. You go to the BMW showroom, you don't just buy the BMW, you take it for a drive. So I honestly believe that you should join at the lower end possible. Don't spend a lot of money. And then you go in, and it's like going into a buffet. You can then have a look, and you can see what resonates with you. Because the great thing about the back office with SFM, if you want to be an expert at Amazon, or you want to be an expert at social media, or you want to be affiliated to their mentorship programs, whatever you choose to do, it's in the back office. But I think you need to join for 90 days. That's what I say to people. You go in there, you join for 3 months, and then you find out if it's for you or if it's not for you. You don't have to go and spend lots of money, because one of the great things about being a part of that community is you can start talking to the other members. But also the most important thing, and if you're an experienced business guy, you kind of understand this, but if you're just starting out online, the most important thing is the mindset. And the great thing that you get in the back office with SFM is their weekly training. You'll find out if it's something you want to do, because the mindset is the most important thing. I do some private coaching, and I spoke to someone recently who was going to join SFM, and I said, go in there and have a look. But when I was having the consultation with them, I was drilling down on what it was that they were, passionate about. Because once you know what you're passionate about, you can then get that business up and running, whether it's through blogging, whether it's through webinars, whether it's through social media. You can then choose. But you really need to go into the back office and have a look around, or speak to a coach and drill down on what it is that you're trying to achieve. But you won't be able to do it on your own. It's impossible.
That's a good message, Glenn, and honestly something that we talked about it before. I'm feeling very much aligned with. And there is no shortage of possibilities to get connected, guys, and that's why I have myself created these Facebook groups so that people can specifically connect and ask questions. and interact about SFM. I'm sorry if I keep constantly moving around, but I'm in a low Wi-Fi coverage area, so I need to move out.
But no, the actual reception does keep going up and down.
Yeah, exactly. So here, I think it's the most stable. So I think I'll try and stick to where I am now. I was hoping to be able to stay.
You're recording this anyway, aren't you? You're actually recording this as well.
I am recording as
technical
well.
Problems you can, yeah.
But luckily enough, I'm recording it on site here on my laptop, so it won't go on online. So, guys, sorry for that. It was not really planned to be this way, but you know, that's the good things about digital. They can work pretty well most of the time, and well, it's life. No matter whether we call it digital, it's still the real life. So the real hassles can still kick in. I'll try and get inside and see if there's
but one thing you need to be with digital is flexible.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
True. If you're flexible, you'll be
okay, guys. It's not going to be as bright as before, but it should be much better now, I hope. All right. So I was saying this group that you all are part of, and the message that Glenn and I are sending out to you is there are people who know better, right, than you, definitely than I do. I won't talk for you, Glenn, but definitely there are experts out there. Don't be shy. You've already taken an important step in joining this group, and most of you have already joined the SFM community. So I would say don't be shy in asking questions and throwing out your doubts there, because also you, Glenn, you said something very important last time, I remember, and saying that it's not to blame the programs or SFM or anybody. The program is so broad that it's difficult sometimes to just, you know, tailor it around just every single person. So it needs to be broad for its own sake. And then you need to start connecting with people, with Glenn, with Luca, with other folks that can help you get to where you want to get within the framework of the program. But definitely there are some aspects that probably are worth spending some few words around. And Glenn, you talked about the time that you're willing to commit. So one of the other questions that I was recently asked, and of course I was expecting that question, right, was what's really the potential? I mean, the profit potential of SFM specifically, but honestly, this question goes for any program. And, you know, of course, you take the numbers of the commissions and you run your own calculations, and you can run pretty, I don't know whether to call it accurate, but you can run your own projections. But of course, there is a hypothesis behind that, that even if Glenn and I started at the very same position with SFM or any other program, had the exact same resources, exact same amount of time, and even used the same exact advertising material, we wouldn't most probably, actually for sure, obtain the same results. So there is no clear science on that. It's more on the statistics side. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think, again, there's always an element of luck, but most of it isn't luck. Most of it is down to implementation and targeting the right audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I in the early days with SFM was doing some Facebook advertising. I actually got banned from Facebook, and it does happen, as you know. Some people get banned and they find it very difficult to get their account back up. But the most important thing is when you're setting out is not to rely on one platform, is to rely on different platforms and find the platform that works for you. Because the platform that works for me, because I don't use Facebook at the moment. I use other platforms. So it's different for everyone. And also, the most important thing is that some people really understand their audience. And the people that are successful, they really drill down and find out who their ideal customer is.
Yeah.
And then they go and find that ideal customer on whatever platform, they're comfortable working. And then they build a relationship. Because one thing is for sure, is that there's no, if you're doing social media marketing, and I've done a lot of this, and you're just doing the scattergun approach, you will not be successful. I mean, there are people people within the community. Mark Ford is a person that doesn't do paid marketing. He does blogging, and I know Mark. It's quick. Are you still with us? You're jumping.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was kicked out, and then I'm back.
Am I back live again, or
Oh yes,
because I can see you, you can hear me, yeah? But my
yes.
screen is one part of my screen has disappeared.
I
Hold on.
can see you and I can hear you. I think the problems are on
Yeah,
my
but
end.
no, but that's okay. So just finishing on that point is that I understand it when people get overwhelmed, because you go into the back office and there's an awful lot to deal with, and also you'll see some people that started at the same time as you doing much better, and you're not doing so well. But the most important thing is that some people can find their niche and drill down to their target customer, and put some ads out there and get some results very quickly. Another person, it can take 6 months. So it's really about consistency, persistency, but more important than that, because it comes back to mindset, is understanding why you're doing it, the reason you're doing it, your purpose for doing it, and finding out what the problem is you want to solve for people. Like for me, I know that expats, because I've been an expat, and lived in different places. The biggest problem for expats is how they fund the lifestyle. And I've got friends that have restaurants, bars, and they live in Spain, they live in Italy. And to go and open up a bar or a small hotel or whatever it might be, Luca, being Italian, and I've opened business in Spain. The bureaucracy is unbearable. It's the biggest challenge you'll ever face in your life, dealing with the Italian or Spanish bureaucracy. So I know that that's the biggest problem for expats. So I know that if they can have a digital online business set up and running and get it going before they even decide to move abroad and generate an income, I've solved the problem. And I've also got friends that are now having to sell their restaurants and bars. I can help them set up an online business. But you need to know, and obviously you've got some experienced people within your community, but the most important thing is drilling down on what is the problem you want to solve.
Absolutely.
And who is your ideal customer.
Absolutely.
And build that around the passion. My ex-wife, who I have a great relationship with, she works with yoga and raw food, but she doesn't just do like food marketing or yoga marketing. She looks after people that are in their late 40s and 50s that want mobility through yoga, and she's drilled down within the this kind of slow food movement, or the food which is a huge massive niche. She's drilled down, and now she just talks about the raw food and the benefit of raw food. So you've got to pick your subject or your niche, and then drill right down and pinpoint something that's going to solve a problem for people who you want to do business with and who you want to help, and talk to those people. And you can do it through blogging. You can do it. I mean, we know, Luca, the fastest way and the best way is paid advertising.
It is.
Because you can get your message in front of the
is.
right person at the right time. And if you haven't got a budget for that, then to be honest with you, it's possible to be successful, but it's a slog, because you're blogging, you're doing social media, you're out there putting in videos out there and constantly battling away. But if you can target your audience with some paid marketing, and you're willing to invest in your business, then you'll see results much quicker.
Yeah, and honestly, this is definitely one of the topics that I'm thinking will. So paid advertising, free advertising. You opened up a world there, and I'm thinking that in one of the next lives, I should really go and want to go deeper into that, and maybe Glen will join us. Who knows? If you're available, Glen, we'll see to that. But you said something which honestly I find people don't think enough about, which is the why. And I receive questions like how profitable the program is, how much time will I need to come to that sort of income. I said, guys, I cannot give you a commitment on how much time it will take you to get there. I can give you a probabilistic approach, but I will tell you this, that if you know what the right things to do are, if you are doing the right things consistently every day, and if you're transforming, using the best possible tools that are at your disposal in the best ways, you will get results. But also know this, that results are not promised in 1 day, in 2 weeks, in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months. You need to believe that results will come as an effect of your own actions. You also start understanding that sometimes maybe you're not taking the best possible actions, so you might want to rethink them. And definitely your why. You talked about that. Why are you doing it? Whose problem are you trying to solve? For example, Glen, he talked about expats. So he's targeting expats, trying to set up businesses in Spain, in Italy, and helping them out in making them digital. I have my audience in the people who I feel most comfortable with, which is people who work a corporate job and actually would like to start a different approach to the rest of their life by generating a passive income through the creation of a digital business. And because this is where I am coming from, this is also my own personal journey to share with the others. So at the moment when you will be stuck, and you will have problems, guys, I just promise you that. It's just part of life. What will you do? Will you just quit maybe after 6 months?
Well, one thing I will say on that point is that always remember that when you join SFM, and I honestly believe you should just join for 90 days if you're going to join. And I'm not going to promote SFM because I'll be totally transparent. I don't actually. I'm not my business model isn't affiliated to their products. Originally, it was, but I mean, I've got glen-murphy.com and entrepreneurexpats.com, which is basically based around coaching and based around SFM DEA. But a lot of people like myself that joined SFM, they took the training because there's so much value in the back office and have started up other businesses. So it's not always, you don't always have to go into SFM and be affiliated to their products to make money. I mean, I think my first momentum day, where there was probably 90 people there, and I've got some contact with, I don't know, at least 10 or 20 of those. There's a high number of them that have gone off and set up their own businesses based around social media, helping local businesses. It's not always about making money and being affiliated to their mentorship programs. There are people making considerable, crazy amounts of money just selling SFM DEA products. But the training in the back office allows you to be an Instagram master, a Facebook master, a Twitter master, an Amazon master. So you can go in there and take, as I said before, it's like a buffer. You take what resonates with you, and then you can use those skills and set up your own business. And you can still, I mean, there's lots of people within the SFM community that have their own businesses and they use the education, but they're not affiliated, to the actual SFM products. Can you hear me, Luca? Because I can't hear you. No, you can obviously hear me, but your volume's gone. But not to worry. You look like a fish in a fishbowl at the moment, as I did at the beginning. Your mouth's moving, but I can't hear anything. But you can hear me. Can you give me a nod? You can hear me, yeah? Okay, that's fine. So just finishing on that point, just so the guys know. You still there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Oh, you're back. Your volume, yeah, your volume's back. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to remove the headset, but I'll try and put them on again.
Let me just give some of the listeners or your group a way of
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
I can now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. Go ahead.
Don't always think that you need to be affiliated to the products, because I mean, I'll give you a quick example, and I think this is something that anyone can go and do, and this is what I did, is that if you understand optimized press, which you should build your website up on optimized press if you can, there are optimized press experts that you can find them in Fiverr, you can find them on LinkedIn, you can find them anywhere. And went to a few local businesses and I looked at their websites, and lots of people have nice looking websites, and they basically look like, well, it's like going to a doctor's or a dentist's surgery where you see a beautiful glossy magazine on the table, but it's not actually doing anything. So you get lots of small businesses, they have wonderful looking websites, but they're not capturing data, they're not marketing platforms, they're not doing anything, they just look good. So if you can find someone, and this is a good tip because this is what I did, you find an optimized press expert. I mean, I know how to do optimized press, but I'm not an expert. And you just approach small businesses. Let's just say you're interested in hairdressers. You just contact 10 hairdressers, you look at their website, and you can do it through email, you can even visit them if you want, or you can do it online. You say to them, listen, I've looked at your website and I love what you do, but you're leaving lots of money on the table. You're not actually collecting any data. Now, I've done it with small hotels because I understand small hotels. I've done it with a local photographer here as well. You know, because if you have an optimized press website, you've now got a marketing platform. It's not a website, it's a marketing platform. Yeah. So you can go in there, and I call it giving someone a digital MOT. So you can go and look at their website, have a chat with them and say, you know what, let's say I'll just use this for example, for $1,000, I can, like you would put your car in a garage, I will optimize your website so you get more customers and you can build a list. We'll automate it for you because none of these websites have an Aweber or a MailChimp to collect data, collect emails, and you can just say to them, listen, I will, and it's a way of generating an income very quickly, and you literally just contact them and say, I will build you a new website on optimized press, and you will get more customers and be able to build a list and then build a relationship. As we all know, the money's in the list, and the quality of the list and the relationship with the list is relative to how much money you make. But that's just a very simple thing that anyone can go and do.
And Glen,
and all you go on, fire away.
Glen, you are saying something that is definitely very relevant, right? But I just want to bring it back on the perspective that the people who are part also of the group, you know, and that guys, that might seem like lots of work. Of course, Glen is giving you perspective on the fact that SFM will get you started, can get you started on learning some skills that then you can use for doing things that are outside of SFM as well. And there's no secret about that. SFM publishes that as well. Of course, being an affiliate marketer, you can also do both. You can be an affiliate marketer and, for example, promote SFM products and do what Glen is suggesting, right? These is very well connecting with each other.
Well, on that point, when you speak to somebody on a one-to-one basis, or you speak to a small business, you know, you're going to say to them that you can upgrade their website, for example. Mm-hmm. But you can also then, when you have a meeting with them, whether it's on Skype or in person, you can then give them a list of, let's say, 7 points of how they can monetize that website. Mm-hmm. And one of those ways for, say, a hairdresser or a small hotel or anyone to monetize their website is to have a blog or a part of their website that says you can also be a part of this community, and then direct them to an SFM DEA mentorship program. Because any small business or any individual that wants to start or grow a business online still needs a mentorship program.
Yes.
You know, even if you're using SFM to build a business or help other small businesses, you know, it's like anyone that I coach, and I've just finished a website for somebody, you know, every time they used a product that I put forward to them, whether it's SFM, Aweber, optimized press, I get an affiliate commission.
Yeah,
So I can do a one-to-one coaching with somebody that wants to start their own online personal brand, but
absolutely.
still, once I've built that platform for them and explained to them how to do it, they can still be affiliated to the same products that I'm affiliated to. Because I won't recommend a product to anybody unless I'm using it myself. It's like
Agreed.
at the moment, I've just started blinkvintage.com. And the only reason that I've set up a physical business, one, I'm passionate about vintage eyewear, and I was lucky to discover some wonderful product. But now, after setting up my online store, I can teach other people how to set up an online store. Once I make it a success, so if you belong to a mentorship program like SFM, you constantly learn new ways of doing things.
Yes.
And the way I see it is an entrepreneurial chain. You've got people up ahead of you that are pulling you along, that's you're further ahead of you, and with your other arm, you're pulling other people along. It's just an entrepreneurial chain of the people further ahead helping you, and the people not so, that you're a bit ahead of them, you pull them along. So it's just a
Yes.
nice, beautiful chain of people
It's a,
helping each other.
that's fantastic, Glenn, because this is exactly the concept. I mean, I don't remember who it was some time ago, but it goes along these lines. He told me, when you are, even if you know something that seems to be very small to you, you always need to be aware that there's people who do not possess that kind of knowledge. So also in terms of not just helping each other, helping others grow, but also making a business out of it, there's always possibilities. And of course, guys, you are here, and Glenn has been so nicely talking about the fact that with digital, you can start a shop in less than 1 day, in a few minutes. Of course, the setup of whatever goes behind it, for example, a drop shipping business. And by the way, as a matter of fact, SFM has some material related specifically to how create a drop shipping business. But those are things that you can combine to grow, to make not only money, to grow your experience in it, so that you can propose that value add to people who are trying to do the same, or maybe to people who were not knowing they were actually trying to do the same, but they discover, wow, it's possible. Oh, Glenn can help me. Luca can help me. So, these
Yeah,
opening up endless possibilities, to be honest.
I think the most important thing and the biggest takeaway from this call is that you need to get a coach or a mentor, and you need to spend a couple of hours of, some SFMDA is wonderful. It's got everything you need in there to get going and start an online business. But I believe in talking to someone like you or someone like me or whoever people resonate with, and really drilling down on what it is they want to do. Because once you know what you want to do and your why, the reason you're doing it. I mean, the reason I want a portable business is because if I need to move to London or I need to move somewhere, I can just shut the laptop and I'm away. It gives you the freedom and flexibility. And I know what it's like when you get stuck in a bricks and mortar type business, because I did in Spain, recession and everything crashed, and you're trying to sell it and you can't sell it and you're stuck. Well, with a laptop business, you just shut it and you move away. And this, I think, the most important thing, and I'm not sure if people are doing this full time or are doing it part time, you've got to treat it like a wonderful hobby. You've got to say, this is my passion. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week or whatever. It's like learning karate or going to the gym or learning cooking courses. You just got to say, I'm going to do this for the next 6 months and master it, but find out what it is, what business it is you want to build. And then by looking at SFM or speaking to a coach or speaking to whoever, find out what you're good at. Because like my ex-wife, who we still talk and we do business and that together. She's an incredible writer. She worked in fashion PR for 20 years. So when she I mean, for me, I hate writing. I mean, I have good concepts and I write, but I have to get someone to look at it, re-edit it. So I'm not going to be a good blogger. It's just not me. I can talk, as you can see, so I can do videos easily. But my ex-wife, she gets a lot of her customer through blogging. You have to find out what your passion is, what your skill is, and then just focus on those things and understand the reason you're doing it.
Yes.
You're going to work for 6 months. In 6 months' time, you might be free to go and travel around the world.
Yes, guys, and always put it in perspective. See, those 6 months will go away anyway. So what do you want to risk? You know, having success or just being sure that you won't achieve your goals? And just a remark, because of course there is a key word that Glen used, and he used 2 words: wonderful hobby. It's, of course, I keep insisting, I'm not the only one saying that you shouldn't treat it as a hobby, but I guess the difference here is treat it as a wonderful hobby. So serious enough.
Okay, on that point, I just jump in there because it's interesting that I was reading, I forget, there's a wonderful book by Sir Ken Robinson called The Element. And if you ever get a chance, read it. It's the most amazing book about finding your passion and doing what you love. And he interviewed some people, I can't remember everything, but there are hobbyists out there that they love what they do so much, they're actually better than some professionals.
Absolutely.
Because they you know, if you can be, when I say hobby, I don't mean be unprofessional, I mean drill down, find something you love, something you're passionate about.
Yes.
Because there are hobbyists out there that don't want to go and play at the Royal Albert Hall. They just love playing the violin at home. And then they're some incredible violin players, but they do it for 4 hours every day.
Absolutely.
You know, that's why it's got to be a wonderful
absolutely
hobby that you absolutely adore.
Absolutely. I guess the message around the hobby was more for me to say, guys, if you're, again, this is more onto the why. If you're coming in creating not just digital business, but anything, honestly, any kind of a business, you know, and your target at the end is to sustain a lifestyle, you know, to generate an income, and think that, you know, I'm going to do it, you know, every now and then, every second day or once a week. These is probably not the best way to make it work. I'm not saying that it won't work. Everything is possible in life, but honestly, you might really want to look into your why deeply and understand what your passions are. Can you repeat the name of the book that you were suggesting before, Glen?
It's either just I think it's The Element by Sir Ken Robinson.
Good read.
In fact,
yeah.
No, it's a must read. I promise you, it's a must read.
Okay, good.
He's a fantastic man who's talking about education in today's world, not in the archaic world of how it used to be. How we should educate children and ourselves in today's world. It's the one. In fact, I'll tell you what. There's 2 books that you should definitely have for your guys if they can see those.
Massive. It's not how you are, it's how good you want to be, by Paul Arden. And the second one is Stop Talking, Start Doing. And I cannot see the author.
The author is Shah Wasman and Richard Newton.
All right. Guys, we have some reads. And yeah, okay.
I read a book a week, and I think everyone should read a book a week because it keeps you focused. And you know, you need to really be involved with a community, a coach, and turn the television off and read.
Agreed. Agree with you. Make the time to make your brain work. And somebody, I don't remember who in the SFM community, one of the guys who runs I think it's Jay. It's probably, I don't remember now. No, it's JJ, right?
Yeah, William.
No, JJ.
Oh, JJ. Yeah.
JJ says, he keeps saying, so no, it calls the television the electric money loss machine, whatever. So turn it off, will you? Because, okay, you can directly relate it to, it's not making you grow. Most of the times we watch televisions just because we want to switch off our brains. Maybe what we would need instead is some nice reading like the ones.
My dad always used to say, and it's very true, and I remember it from a very young age, why do you want to sit around watching other people make money?
That's great. Honestly,
everyone you're watching,
yeah,
everyone you're watching is living their passion and they're getting paid to do it. Go and live your passion and get paid to do it. Don't watch other people make money.
Glen, well said. And I think that I'll write it very soon as one of the subjects of my messages out, but it's very good. And Glenn, any last thought for this session that I'm having the feeling it might not be the last one with you. Actually, I very much hope that we'll manage to create something together here.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it again. I mean, as I say, the biggest takeaway is just, you know, find out, drill down for what you really want to do, and talk to people, and really find something you're passionate about, and be patient. Because one thing, I mean, Jay Kubicek, I remember having a drink with him when I was in London at one of the, and he said the only difference between me and you, Glenn, is time. You know, it does. Success isn't. I mean, for me, success isn't just the money. Success is not about money. It's about, you know, being brave, scratching your itch, getting on your journey, because the fun is in the journey. The fun, you know, because we're all going to the same destination. We might as well have some fun on the way. So it's, you know, I just think that you need to really, that's why I use the word hobby, and I don't mean it in an unprofessional way. Find out that if you had all the money in the world and you didn't have to go to work, what would you do? What would be your love? What would be your passion? And then that would be your, you know, your favorite, you know, subjects, and then build a business around that.
Yes.
And if you don't have money to invest in the business, just understand and talk to a mentor and coach, because there are ways to build a business. It's going to be slower, but there are ways to do it without having to do paid marketing. But you just need to talk to the right people.
And this also leads me to another quote of a must read if you haven't read it already, guys. I don't have the book here with me, but it's the 7 Habits, you know, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey. And the quote that I remember is "Begin with the end in mind."
I've read it 10 times. It's next to my bed.
So you see, it's a must-do, guys. It's a must-read. Glenn, I think time is up, but you've been very insightful. You've been very good conversation for the others. I would say Glenn is also part of this group. So any comments, any feedback, any question, you know, Facebook is an amazing space to get connected. Let's use it to get connected. And he will see the post. He will reply, and if he doesn't see it, I will make sure he does. You know, and wait for our next live on this screen.
Just one point to finish on about staying within the group and being connected. The importance of that is you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Someone contacted me yesterday because I've started this new sort of blinkvintage.com. Who's doing vintage eyewear, and just because I joined the vintage eyewear group and started talking about vintage eyewear, they are talking to me now about doing a joint venture and maybe doing a business together. The great thing about connecting and talking to one another is you don't know where it might lead, because even if you don't have money to invest in a business or in your marketing, you might have a skill that you can introduce to a JV, a joint venture, and the other person might have a little bit of cash. And then you can, you know, do something together. I know people, just to finish, I know people within SFMDA that joined together at a momentum day and went from the elite up to gold. One had the money, one had the skill, and they joined together and went up to gold. So you can do joint ventures within the group.
Absolutely.
So, you know, keep in touch with everyone.
Glenn, thanks very much. And guys,
no worries.
To your success. Have a great
fun
week. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Contact. All the best now, guys.
Bye. You too.
Great fun. Yeah.